So a lot of times Ollie's doing, detective work, but sometimes he does some like covert ops type stuff. It requires some of the same skill sets. You gotta be clever, you gotta be sneaky. This is one of those times. Let's stop fidgeting. Because, well, this wasn't a police operation, mind you. But this guy was trying to get... He thought that somebody had stolen his dog. And he wanted the dog back. So I called Ollie up and I said, "So you gotta help me. This guy stole my dog and he won't give it back." I said, "Well, that sounds like a police thing." He says, "No, I don't want to get the police involved. I want to hire you. I don't want to arrest the guy. I just want the dog back." And I said, "All right. Well, tell me more about it." He said, "Can you come over? I can explain it to you better while you're here." I said, yeah, sure, why not?" So we went over there. And I said, "So here's the thing. I know the guy has my dog because I can see into his yard from my yard." And so come up to the top floor. And they went up to the top floor on the balcony. And he pointed down. And 2 houses away, there was a dog in the yard. A little kind of coppery red dog. Maybe, 20 pounds or so. Not a huge dog, but not a tiny dog. I said, "I know that's my dog." And right when my dog went missing, I started seeing her over there. I said, "I assume you went and talked to the guy." He said, "Yeah, he denies it or anything. He denies there even is a dog. It's ridiculous. He knows I can see into his yard." I said, "All right. So you want me to try and get your dog back?" I said, "Yeah. But here's the thing. The guy's paranoid. He never leaves the house. He orders everything in by delivery. So if we're going to sneak the dog out, well, I don't know how we're going to do it." I talked to the security company that put in his locks. I paid him like $100 and got this information that there's only one copy of the key. But I've seen it. He keeps it on his dresser in his bedroom. And even though he's got that whole house, as far as I can tell, he spends most of this time in the bedroom. But we've got to get that key somehow so that we can free my dog and bring it back. Well, if we had the key, or a copy of the key, well, there's no copies of the key. If we had the key, then we could wait till he was asleep, because the dog stays in the yard. Then we could unlock the back gate, and I could call her, and she would come to me. She's very good about coming when I call. Well, I said, "All right. So we've got to get that key, but the guy can't notice." The neighbor said, "Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. That's exactly right." So I looked at the house where they wanted to get the key and looked at the space in between. And then he got an idea. It wasn't the safest idea, but it was an idea. You see, the neighbor did have cable or telephone or something. There was a wire, not a power cable wire, but a telecom wire, stretching tight from the pole in the alley. And it went all the way up to the house, and it hooked onto the house near that top floor bedroom where the key was in. And I thought if I could get across that wire, I might be able to get the key. But how do I get there? The guy said, "But if as soon as the guy saw the key was missing, well, I don't know what he'd do, but he wouldn't just sit around. He'd maybe, I don't know, call the police, security company or something. Well, I said, I've got an idea. But we're going to have to make it a bit of a complicated thing. You say that he takes delivery of a lot of stuff. Stop fidgeting, when there's a delivery, does he go and open the door himself? I said, yeah, he usually does. He's not afraid of people. He's just agoraphobic. Sometimes he even has house guests over. It's just that he never leaves the house. So yeah, he'll go down and he'll open the door and take whatever it is and tip the delivery driver. Yeah. And he'll usually even stay and chat. Stop fidgeting, Elsa. Stop. I said, okay, then I've got an idea. I said, all right, but it's not going to work, but we're going to need to find somebody to help you. We're going to need a third person. I said, all right, to do what? We need a third person to make a delivery that he's not expecting. And we need this person to be friendly and chatty. The guy said, all right, I know somebody that I could bring in for this. My coworkers. He's a young guy, very friendly, very chatty. When he wears a suit, he looks like the web developer he is, but if you put him in, cargo pants and a blue vest, he would look like a delivery guy. I said, all right, that'll work. So why don't you set it up with him for tomorrow to come? And can you be here tomorrow afternoon with your friend from work? He said, yeah, I think so. Let me message him, but I think so. So I set it up that way. I said, all right, I've got to get some supplies. So he went off to go get something that he'd read about once and tried once, but hadn't tried in a long time. The next day, Ollie showed up, and he had a little bag that he could tie to his waist. I said, what are you going to do with that little bag? I said, I've got a way to get a key, to get a second key. So whenever, let me get over to the telephone pole, and I'll signal you when your friend should start making delivery. So stop, just lay still. So I got over by the telephone pole and kind of waved up over the side of the wall, just enough so that the guy hiring him could see. And then the friend, the guy hiring him called his friend, who pulled up from down the street, went over and knocked on the door. Sure enough, all I could see that the neighbor that had taken the dog got up. He'd been reading in a chair in the room, got up and went downstairs. As soon as Ollie heard the bedroom door close, he started climbing. He shot up the telephone pole really fast because he's a good climber, but climbing across the wire was harder. But he's nimble, so he did it. He climbed tentacle over 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 tentacle until he got there. Hopped quickly onto the balcony, scampered in, saw the key. He grabbed the key and opened his bag, and in his bag was a little box, and in that box was a waxy substance, filling the box to the brim. So he took the key and he put it in the box and he closed the box really tight, and he really had to press down to get it closed. He counted himself to 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. He popped open the box, and there, in the wax was a perfect impression of the key. Very carefully. Pulled the key out of the wax. Closed the box back up gently. Put it back in the bag. Started scampering off across the wire again. Just as he got to the pole, he heard the door in the bedroom open up again. So he's just like, oh man, I just barely made it. Trying to be sneaky, instead of focusing on being quick, he stayed on the opposite side of the pole and made himself as skinny as possible while climbing down. But he made it. He went back over to the guy that hired his house. He said, all right, now I've got to go and get this key made. He said, but what key? I thought we weren't going to take the key because he would notice. He said, the key is still there. And he showed up the guy the box. That's a wax box. And with this, I can make a new key. The guy said, whoa, that's awesome. I've never seen that before. I said, I read it in a book once. So Ollie went and he took the wax mold and he went to a locksmith that he had a good relationship with. His name was Gene. He said, Gene, I need you to make me a key that matches this impression. I said, Ollie, do I even want to know what this is for? I said, no, you probably don't. But I'm just helping a guy get his dog back. So that's more than I want to know. So I made the key, went back to the house, and they waited until late at night, until like 1 in the morning. They were sure that the guy's light was off. All the lights in the house were off. They went very quietly into the back alley. Slid the key into the door. They were very nervous. They turned the key, and the lock turned. They turned the handle, and the gate started to come. So they pulled the gate open, and the lights came on, and an alarm started to go off. I said, shoot, there's an alarm. Gotta go. That's all I said. No, hold on. I'm gonna get my dog. Bessie, come here, girl. And the dog sat straight up. Looked right over to the door and came running to its owner. So happy to see him. Came bounding at the door. The dog came out the door. About 3 seconds later, the neighbor came out of the back door and started yelling, "What's going on here? I've already called the police. Who are you? What's going on?" But there was no valor to be had in staying and facing the guy. The dog was outside of the gate. The guy was outside of the gate. Ollie just closed the door, hit the lock, and they ran. The dog was small enough that the guy picked his dog up and ran with it. Well, they got back to the house, and the dog was very happy to be home. But, "Oh, Bessie, I missed you so much," the owner said. And Bessie licked his face and sat on his lap and just didn't want to leave his lap the whole time. And I said, "Here's the thing, why do you want to steal your dog?" I said, "Well, in some respects I feel bad for the guy. I think he gets pretty lonely in there. But taking somebody else's dog isn't the way. Plus, he wasn't spending any time with Bessie. He didn't have Bessie inside. I don't know. I think the guy's a little crackers." I said, "Well, good luck. Hope you can settle the relationship with your neighbor. But I'm glad you got your dog back." The guy said, "Yeah, worth every penny, Ollie. Thank you so much for coming." And I said, "I should probably take that key back." And I said, "Why?" I said, "Well, your neighbor's going to notice that you have your dog back. And he's going to have reported a burglary, a break-in to the police. they come in here and they find a key to the neighbor's house in your house, it's going to look pretty bad for you, even if you can prove that it's your dog. I said, oh, you're right. You're right. You should take the key and make sure you have that box, right? Bring that back with you. I said, I've got the box. I've got the key. Good luck. And that was the case of the stolen dog.